So this is day 2 of the sports exhaust overhaul. I soaked all the bolts in WD-40 and a rust remover last night, so that's been hopefully seeping in overnight. Hopefully it'll make a difference. Some of the bolts are so rusted that I don't think it'll make a bit of difference at all, only heat will help. But that's something I'll do at the workshop because I haven't got an oxyacetylene set up here. I've just got gas and that won't get it hot enough. So as I say, I've got some new drill bits I'm going to try and I'm going to start by trying to drill out the rusted bolts on the driver's side manifold, see how we get on. These are the bolts I'm going to try first. I think originally, although it looks like I can see a bolt there at the bottom, maybe they've been replaced over the years, but originally I think they were pressed studs, and from what I've seen on YouTube from other people who have done this, is that they are incredibly hard, maybe hardened steel, and have been very difficult to get out. So that's what I'm going to tackle today. So I'm going to start by removing this end tip here. I replaced these bolts, or these brackets, a couple of years ago. They're original from Porsche. So if I get that out the way, I might be able to get a bit more access, better access to those bolts there. Okay, so I just tried the first bolt, and I hope this isn't a sign of things to come, but I dare say it probably is, so put a little bit of pressure on it and it snaps straight away. Strangely, these bolts here, they come out through the top, and, well, they're supposed to come out through the top, but there's obviously no room for them to come out, so you can see that there. So I'm going to have to get the angle grinder in here and try and cut that head off and then just push it down to get this out. Okay, so that is the first bolt to be removed of this exhaust system. Okay, so I've managed to grind off the completely rusted nut that was at the bottom of that bolt. I actually used the Dremel with it's completely eaten away now, but that was the fitting. And so that is the so that's the end of the nut there, the bolt, sorry. But the issue that I have is that there isn't enough space up here to pull the bolt out. I've seen on other YouTube videos that people recommend to put the bolt in the other way up if you want to do this again, but it looks like you've got to get the silencer off along with the bracket possibly that fits it to the engine in order to get that bolt off. So the other side I cut off because I could get to it with the angle grinder as you saw, but this I cannot get to. So I don't know if I can take the heat shield off and that'll give me enough space, but yeah, not easy, that's for sure. Okay, so I just managed to get the angle grinder in there, unbelievably. I just managed to fit by taking this bracket off here, the protective bracket obviously. So now I am going to drop the bolt through from the other side Hope it just goes through. Actually, all the weight of that on there. Let me see what I can use in there. Is that going to go? This basically just needs to fall through the gap, but because of the weight of the silencer is on it, it doesn't really want to go through. I need to get something. Yes! Okay, there's the bolt. It just fell out. So theoretically, or actually not theoretically, but in practice, this should slide away. Oh my God, look at that. Wow. Let me... Jesus. That was a... I can't believe I've got that out. That was such a pain in the ass. That's an original Porsche sports exhaust here with the servo here, and you can listen to this. It's just buggered. Sorry, excuse my language. It's knackered on the inside, but I'm so pleased I've got that out. What a triumph. Cool. Wow. Let's just have a quick look. So yeah, you can see those are the brackets, those are the bolts that were really difficult to get out. You can see all the shavings there from where I was cutting it with the Dremel. Used everything to try and get it out. Yeah, so there's a look at a Porsche, an original Porsche sports exhaust. These by the way, I checked with Porsche a couple of months ago, and their prices do fluctuate quite drastically, but a set of these were €6,500, and they're not even stainless steel, you know. I mean, they're just a cheap pressed metal with a really bad design seam down here, which is where they always rust. You can see I put some filler on there last summer, just because it was getting quite loud. You can see here, that's the servo, like I showed you before, the broken bolts, and yeah, not much to see really. I don't even think you can save those. They're probably just so rusted on the inside. I won't throw them away because I'm sure even in this state they'll have some kind of value. Maybe they can be repaired, but yeah, pretty knackered. So let's have a look at the hole that I've just made. The heat shield, I tried to get that off over the, look at that, there we go, whoops. Taking that heat shield off, that's pretty knackered as well. I mean, I really do need to get new heat shields all the way around. But these are the brackets, or this is the bracket. This is a first look, for me as well, at this section of the car, since I bought it, since I've owned it. And this is amazing, you know, this gives you such excellent access, if you get these mufflers off, to be able to do the, under this heat shield or the coil packs, and that's a job that I've got to do. So just, I'm going to say just, this bracket, I'm sure I'll be able to get this bracket off, but then the bracket behind it is going to be slightly difficult because it's attached to the engine at the bottom and at the top, and those bolts are rusted to hell. I've got new brackets left and right for the engine, but I haven't got a new set of these because I was hoping to reuse them. As I say, by the looks of it, I should be able to reuse them. They look pretty good. I've just got to get them off. The only thing I hope is that I can save these bolts. But even if I don't, you know, I can drill these out and put new stainless steel bolts in. But that is, for me, quite an achievement. It's I know people do this every day of the week, but I'm not a professional mechanic, and it's something I've always wanted to do since owning the car, and especially as I've got the brand new set of mufflers at home in a box. This is one step closer to fitting them. Okay, so I'm going to get the blowtorch, which is over there at the moment. I'm going to get that on the two bolts that are holding on the bottom section of that bracket there. Just heat them up and try and break them free. I really don't want them breaking in the block. It happened to a friend of mine, and I know just how easily it happens. There's a wheel sensor, a speed sensor just there, or I think it's an ABS sensor right at the end of my finger, and I needed to get that out last summer, and it twisted it and broke the head off. They're very well known, these Porsches, for the problem of steel bolts in alloy castings. They just become one. So as soon as you try and twist the head off, it just breaks. Anyway, so I'm going to heat up those bolts and see if I can get that bracket off. But first of all, I am going to tidy all this mess up under here. Okay, so just had my first setback really. The brackets that hold on the mufflers, I got the first bolt out, I heated it up, and I managed to crack it, and it came out perfectly. And the second one felt exactly the same. I heated it up far longer and it was turning, and then suddenly it broke off. So, I don't know if you can see that, where is it? Just there. That is the bracket. And that is the block, that part there, and yeah, it's broken off in there. So that is my first setback, but I dare say not my last. So I have to drill that out somehow. Hopefully it comes out okay. Okay, so I've just ground down these studs on this manifold here, where the manifold meets the catalytic converter. And I've heated it up quite a lot, and it seems to be coming out okay, so I'm just going to keep hitting it until it comes out. Okay, well, that was easy. That's the first one out then. So just a little update on the job so far. I've been here for quite literally hours. It's, I must admit, to do it on your own, it is a very difficult job. It's not exactly complicated, but it's just, you know, when the car's not brand new and the bolts don't come out like this one isn't, then it makes it really difficult. So I started off by trying to get these bolts out of the exhaust system here. One of them came out really easily. It knocked out. I heated it up and it knocked out, and I thought, oh brilliant, it's going to work. Then these two didn't budge at all. I tried drilling that, but you can't get the drill. You know, you need a different drill to get into there because of the angle. You know, you can see it there. So that's that. Here, I'm just making the discovery that to get this bracket off of the engine, I can't see any other way than dropping the engine, because this bracket has to come further than this allows, this chassis, to drop it down. So the only way I can think of it working is to drop the engine, which is a bit of a pain in the ass, because obviously dropping the engine is quite a big job. I want to do it. I've always wanted to do it. That's not the problem, but I didn't expect to have to do it, and obviously I don't know how to do it. I can find out, but in a workshop without a lift, it's, I'm sure, not an easy job. So I'm going to leave it there for today. Clearly the car is going to be out of action for a jolly long time, because I can't see this happening quickly. I did break a bolt off in the engine block, which was a real pain. One of them came out fine for that bracket there, that bracket which I just showed you, this bracket. But the other one felt like it was coming, but then it broke. So I'm going to have to see. Maybe I just have to put the wheels back on and I tow it onto a trailer and take it to the garage. I think if I'm going to take the engine out, then that is probably the most sensible way to do it. But as I say, I'm going to leave it there for today and come back to it maybe tomorrow.